So I'm back. I know it's been a really long time since I've made a video, and I apologize, but I've been keeping up with your comments, and I really appreciate all the comments on my 50 Shades Grey, 50 Shades Darker, and 50 Shades Freed, and a few on my Divergent, and I just really appreciate that you guys are actually watching what I'm putting out, because, you know, I do take a little bit of time out of my day to do them, and so it's good to know that, you know, somebody's watching it and I'm not talking to myself half the time. So, I know I've been AWOL. I have excuses, but I feel like that'd be lame to tell you excuses. So I'm not going to tell you excuses. I'm just going to tell you I got my wisdom teeth out, I went to New York, and I started college again. So I've been really, really busy, and I apologize. But I've made the time to do a book review, and I picked a book that was similar to all of our favorite 50 Shades of Grey, and it is called, can you see that? I know my lighting sucks. It's called Bare to You by Sylvia Day. You may have heard of it. It is the newest popular book. After you finish 50 Shades of Grey, it is the next one recommended to you. And yeah, so once again, if you're not into sex or eroticas or filthy language or just dirty stuff like that, or if you're underage, I don't recommend you reading this book. It is a little mature. There's mature context in it, and some emotional context in it. So it's definitely something that I recommend you waiting until you're at a certain age. And before I get any more comments about my age, I'm turning 20 next Sunday. So I think I've reached the limit where I can read about sex, and yeah, so if you haven't read it, then you should go, and if you have, then stick around for our book review. Okay, so we're going to talk about Bare to You, which was a really, really beautiful book in a strange kind of way. So it's about a girl. Her name is Eva Tramell, and she just moved to New York, and she is successful and beautiful, and she lives with her best friend, who is, we don't know, I think he's gay, and he's also bisexual, because he's with women, but he's also with men. This is what I mean by the context being kind of mature. So she lives with her best friend, who is bisexual, and she got this new job in New York, but she just moved here from California, and it basically starts off with her going to the job to time out how long it's going to take her to get to her job, and then she's going to the gym. And so she's in her workout gear, and she goes to the office, and she sees, you know, she looks around, and a woman drops her purse, and so she gets down to try to help her, and then all of a sudden this gorgeous man just comes out of nowhere. You know, why doesn't this happen in real life? It totally should. I should just be sitting on the floor picking up my pocketbook, and a gorgeous man should just come up to me. But we're in reality, not Sylvia Day's world. So, in this book, this gorgeous man named Mr. Cross, Gideon Cross, comes up to her and tries to help her, and as soon as she sees him, she falls flat on her ass. Like, she's like, oh my God, who is this guy? I mean, he is gorgeous. When I picture a man, I picture Ian Somerhalder. If you do not know who Ian Somerhalder is, he is from Vampire Diaries. He is just yummy and delicious, and I love him to death, and he's just so sexy. And I'm going to insert a picture down below, a link. If you don't know what he looks like, you can look at him. And then we find out Eva. We get more description of Eva, and Eva turns out to be a blonde, who I totally pictured as a brunette. Maybe it's because I have the Anastasia thing still in my mind, but I totally pictured Eva as a brunette. But Eva's a blonde, so then as soon as I figured out she had like grayish blue eyes, I saw Amanda Seyfried. I don't know who Amanda Seyfried is. She's from Dear John, Mamma Mia, like all these really good movies. And Mean Girls. There you go. That's one you should get. She's Karen. Yeah. Her boobs can tell when it's raining. ESPN. You know all that stuff? Yeah. That kind of thing. That's her. So I picture her, but I'll leave a link below if you don't know what she looks like. And basically, Gideon and her just look at each other, and there's just this spark that's ignited, and then she goes back to work, and she she keeps running into him, and they keep having these, like, casual interferences, and it just becomes very obvious that they want each other. And so she tries to ignore it, and Gideon's very, very forward with it, and he just basically says to her, hey, I want to, you know what, and she's like, what? No, I'm not going to do that, which I don't blame her. You go, girl. I would say no, too. I mean, he's gorgeous, but come on, that's not a way to ask a woman to go into bed with you. And so he doesn't even want to go on a date. He just kind of wants to screw her. And then she says no, but then eventually she's like, okay. She goes to his office, and they're, like, hanging out, and then that turns into a really hot make-out session, and then it turns into, like, a really good touchy-feely session, and then they end up on the couch, and they're, like, really getting it on, and then all of a sudden, like, the intercom goes off, so it's like, oh, we have to stop. She wants to go to dinner, and he's like, okay, I'll take you to dinner, and so he agrees to dinner, but then he finds out she's going to this, special charity thing because she's rich. Her stepfather's rich, so she has all this money on her own, so it's not a Christian Grey Anastasia thing. Like, she has her own money, so she doesn't need Gideon's money. She's rich on her own. So you go, girl. You know, more girl power towards her. She's independent and successful without any help from her man. And so they decide to go together, and she's in this really sexy red dress, and they're in the limo, and she just is so awesome because she is the complete opposite of Anastasia. Like, Anastasia, you know how she would never take control of anything? This girl is like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get on that, and I'm gonna take control. And she does, and it's awesome. She jumps on him, she straddles him, and you can put two and two together. They have mind-blowing sex, whatever that is. And then, he, like, completely freezes her out and is like, doesn't talk to her and gets really awkward, and she gets really hurt, and I don't blame her. And then he tries to apologize, and they have a lunch, and he's like, look, I was wrong, I want a relationship. And you're like, what? And so then they try this whole relationship thing, but then you find out that they're both very screwed up people. Like, Gideon is screwed up, and so is Eva. It's not Christian Grey screwed up that we know of yet, because we really don't know actually what's wrong with Gideon, but it's screwed up nonetheless. And they're getting more intimate in their life, and they've already slept together. They go to a hotel, and she finds out this is, like, his F-pad. You know what I mean? Like, he just takes every girl there and screws them. He has, like, condoms there and lubricants and all that stuff. And she's like, oh, hell no, I'm getting out. And so she leaves, and he's, like, really embarrassed. And so he goes after her again, and she forgives him again. And they make up, and then they have this, like, really big blowout, and they don't talk for 4 days. Like, she leaves him, she's like, I'm done, I'm not doing it anymore, blah, blah, blah. I told you, because she goes and she tells him everything about her past, and her past is just very, very upsetting, because she is a sexually abused person. She had a stepbrother who raped her from age 10 to 14, and the only way she found out was because she thought she was getting her period. She went to the hospital and actually found out that she was having a miscarriage, that she was pregnant with her stepbrother's kid and had a miscarriage, and they found out because she had scarring in the vaginal and anal areas, which is so disturbing and so upsetting to hear, like, how badly she was treated. It's just so scarring, and it's really, like, disturbing and upsetting, and it's just very heartbreaking to know. And Gideon gets actually very upset because he cares about her a lot. You can tell he cares about her. Like, he hasn't actually said the words, like, I care about you, but he's always like, I feel I need you. And, you know, when they have sex, it's very, very passionate, and he's always telling her how he can't survive without her. So, you know, it's, like, very serious, and he gets very upset finding out that this happened to her and that her stepbrother did that to her. But then later that night, after they have wonderful sex, he has a nightmare, and she tries to find out what it was about, and he lies to her, and she's just like, I'm done. I told you all my personal information, and you totally just don't care. You didn't tell me. You won't tell me anything. You're lying to me, and I hate it. And so she leaves, and so they actually separate for 4 days, and it's, you know, and then she goes to this garden party that his brother invited her to, which Gideon does not like his brother. There's something up with him and his brother. Like, it's serious. It's not like, oh, a simple rivalry. Like, there's something really bad about them together. And so Gideon actually shows up and takes her into the library, and they have, like, the most intense sex scene I've read. Like, I read a lot of crap in 50 Shades of Grey, but that was intense. Like, it was so descriptive. I was like, whoa. And, like, they went into areas that normal books don't talk about. You know what I mean? Like, the no-go area. Yeah, like, at the front, the back. If you watch Awkward, the behind. Yeah, so it was, so they talk about that, and they talk about how, like, she wants him to go over the scars of Nathan's, like, to rewrite everything that happened. And from there, they have, like, these petty little fights, and you find out that he actually was engaged at one point, but she was the one who proposed to him, so clearly, if you have to propose to a guy, no offense, I know we're in the 21st century, but if you have to propose to a guy, clearly this relationship is not going in the direction it's supposed to be going. And then from there, that's basically it. I mean, they realize that you can't rewrite the past, and I almost forgot. And then there's, like, that really intense moment where he's, like, in bed with her, and then all of a sudden he jumps on her, and he's just like, how does it feel to be that you're the one getting, and he's not talking to her because he's asleep, and, like, Carrie goes crazy and attacks her. Her roommate, he goes insane and attacks him, and then how he feels all guilty, and that really kind of towards the end kind of guides us towards the end, where, like, where are they heading, what's going to happen, how's he going to get over this, and when are we going to find out what happened to Gideon? Because you know what? Something bad did. He was sexually abused because, he said this is the first time I had consensual sex, so, he was raped. But by who? A man, his brother, his dad. Like, we don't know, but we know he's, like, really, really screwed up. It's a whole 50 Shades. My heart's gonna break again for this poor guy. But I really liked the book. I like the fact that, like, it was two very screwed up people coming together and helping each other not be so screwed up, and it was a beautiful love story. I really liked it, and the next one comes out October 2nd, 2012, so that's not too far away. That's like a month, then a few days away, which is awesome, because, I'm not really good at waiting, and so I'll read that, and I'll review it, but, I really liked it. I thought it was a good book. I thought it was interesting. It was not 50 Shades of Grey. There was no, dominating, submissive kind of stuff. Like, they said there was, but there wasn't, because it was more of, like, there was, like, one scene where he's like, you like to be dominated, and she got all, like, offensive about it, and he's like, no, not like that, you just like to be dominated, and she does realize she does like a guy being in control, because she's so screwed up, and she can't take control of her life, so a guy taking control of her life and telling her what she needs and what she doesn't need is almost calming for her, so she likes that, and she realizes she likes it. I hope everything works out for her and Gideon. I hope that the second one, what's it called? Revealed to You, I think is what it was called. It was called Deeper in You, but they changed the title to Revealed in You or something like that. I saw it on some website, and so I hope it's like kind of like 50 Shades of Grey, where, like, the second book was all of Christian's secrets coming out, because I really want to know more about Gideon and his past and what happened to him and what turned him into who he is. But that's all for now, so pick up your copy of Bare to You. It is a really good book. It will be right next to 50 Shades of Grey. It's like this. And, until then, laters, baby.